Alright, everybody, this is Nash here, and this used to be a who to watch video telling you all the game times and all that stuff. I'm still going to be doing that, but I'm kind of morphing this. This is going to be a Big 12 update. We're going to go over the college football polls, we're going to go over the standings, FPI, looking at who the Big 12 is playing, all that stuff. All of our future opponents are now all Big 12 members. So, we're not going to waste any more time because this video is late, and that's my fault. I apologize. Without further ado, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below on who your favorite Big 12 team to watch is this weekend. Let's get right into it. So you have the 2022 schedule. Texas lost to Alabama. I mean, it's only a good loss if we win some ball games. So let's make it a good loss. But not going to spend any much more time on this. Here's the AP Top 25 as well as the Coaches Top 25 poll with all of the college football world. Major change, Texas A&M dropping 18 spots in the AP. I think that's tied with the most that's ever happened in the history of the AP. I almost want to say like the last time something like this happened was when Texas Tech was ranked really high and they lost to Texas State at home. Now you look at where the Big 12 members sit inside the AP poll real quickly here. Not going to spend too much time on this, but I just want to put a little overlay for y'all to see, make it easier for the Big 12 members. Now this is where we all reside in the FPI. So a lot of the Big 12, the most of the Big 12 is sitting in the 20 to 44 range. 20 to 50, call it. So most of the Big 12, according to the FPI, and FPI is just strictly numbers, but we're average, above average. I don't want to say mediocre, but I mean, you would say above top 25 team is mediocre. Now, quickly looking at the Big 12 conference standings, I would argue that the FPI is probably a more accurate version of these standings. However, you can't have Kansas below West Virginia. And this is probably, I don't know the last time that Kansas was ever at the top of the Big 12 conference, but enjoy it, Kansas. And then now we're going to move into the Big 12 games and the college football schedule for week 3 for the Big 12. And we'll make it easier to see the games and then where the game is located at. Not located, but where you can find the game on your televisions. We got rid of the locations. Starting off at 11 a.m., all eyes are going to be on Fox. OU 2-0 versus Nebraska. It's at Nebraska. OU, they have not played much of anybody, so this is going to be the first real test for OU. And it being a road game, Scott Frost being fired, this makes it one interesting matchup. Forget the fact that these are two former rivals. This is a big game. Next is going to be Baylor versus Texas State at 11 on FS1. Baylor coming off a tough loss versus BYU, a future Big 12 foe. So we'll see how they handle that. This should be an easy game for Baylor. And it's a home game for Baylor as well. West Virginia, home game as well, playing Towson. Towson or Towson. I'm going to say Towson. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. I mean, back-to-back losses. Lost to Kansas. Kansas is, who knows if they're looking all right. We'll see. Especially as we start to see more games like Houston as well. Big game for Kansas coming up. Ohio University. Ohio University versus Iowa State. Got my states mixed up there. Iowa just lost to Iowa State in a big rivalry game. That's a big game for them. Iowa State's rolling 2-0. I mean, not too much opponents, but winning against Iowa, you got to be feeling good. Probably going to continue it against Ohio University. We'll see how they start doing in the Big 12 play. Tulane at Kansas State. The Green Wave looking to upset some Kansas State momentum. Kansas State looking like they're rolling, actually. Now, granted, versus weaker teams. Kansas versus Houston, a future Big 12 matchup, similar to the Baylor versus BYU one. Kansas is on the road looking to go 3-0 for the first time since 2009. The first time they've gone 2-0 in a season was 2011. So, it's big stuff for Kansas right now. Houston, coming off a tough loss versus Texas Tech, who we're about to cover here in a second. We'll see if we'll see. This should be actually a pretty good game on ESPNU. Arkansas Pine Bluff at number 8, Oklahoma State at 6 p.m. Oklahoma State, they have not played much of anybody. They did play Arizona State. They looked like they were kind of struggling, and that may be a future Big 12 matchup again. A repeated theme here in the last 2 weeks. But they came out, won the game. So we'll have to see how Oklahoma State is really once they get in conference. But that number 8 ranking, who knows if it's legit or not. We'll see. Texas Tech is at NC State. This should be a... NC State, they escaped ECU. So, NC State, it's, they're not... This isn't an NC State number 16 team where they're not free of any questions on their football team. If Texas Tech walks away with the win, it's gonna really, widen some eyes for this Texas versus Texas Tech game. Now, we cannot start looking forward to Texas Tech. UTSA at Texas, 7 p.m. on Longhorn Network. If the Longhorns do not give UTSA the respect they deserve, we may be looking at a Longhorn team that's going 1-2 to start the 2022 season. And that is not something that you can do at all. Now, it's looking like Hudson Card is going to get the nod to be the starting quarterback on Saturday, tomorrow. But if he can't go, I do have faith in Charles Wright. Now, that being said, I want to see our defense go out there and play with some intensity. The same intensity that they had versus Alabama. Go out there and beat their teeth in the ground, because that's what good football teams do. And that's what we want to see out of Texas. I want to see this Texas team say, you know what? Last year we should have been 11-1. Last year we should have been 10-2. At the very worst, should have been 9-3 with the way that we had control in fourth quarters. Or not control, because if you say control, it's a really deceiving term when you talk about a team that gave up so many leads in fourth quarters and in the second halves. But this is a team that if their defense just imposed their will, just said, hey, no, we're not giving you the option. We're not making it up like last year's team was, we're letting you decide offense, opposing offense. We're going to give you the ability to decide. No, this team, from what we saw versus Alabama, if we see that defense play like that, they will be telling the opposing team no for them. You don't have a chance. So, I want to see this team go out there and face UTSA and act just like they're a number 1 team, Alabama coming in. Because I reiterate, that's what the good teams do. But you cannot overlook these next opponents. Especially a team like Texas Tech, who they very well could win today and come in rolling into that Texas matchup. So, not going to waste any more time. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's go get a Texas win tomorrow at 7 p.m. Hook 'em!